Hi, this is Saili. I am Principal Experience Designer and working with Huge Designs for last 6 years. Today we are going to talk about visual experience design. This looks simple, right? But why it is important because I have been interviewing a lot of people in past 2 or 3 weeks, and after interviewing them and after asking a lot of questions about visual experience design, I realized that people don't know what is visual experience design or how important it is in creating experience design for products. So that's why I would like to give some examples here. So when I was talking to some of the candidates, I asked them that how do you approach visual experience design. So they say that we have brand guideline. So I said, okay, that's it. Then they say, yeah, that's it. I mean, from that we get color palette, typography, and that's enough to create visual experience design. Then I ask them that what is your process. So they say that whenever we get the wireframes, we search online or refer online like Pinterest, Behance, Dribble, and we get some references, and from that we create visual design. Then I ask them that how do you validate your designs. So they say we are experts, right? Why do we even need to validate? So that's how industry is working currently, and that's how visual design has been looked at. So that's why it is very important right now to talk about it. So what is visual experience design? So the base of visual experience design is three things. First, functionality, of course. Second is emotional system, users' emotions, and third is obviously brand. So, based on these three things, we create visual experience design. People also ask me, is there any difference between UI design, visual design, or visual experience design? To be very frank, more than if there is any difference or what we call it, the more important thing is how we approach it. So, I would say that you call it UI design, or visual experience design, it doesn't really matter. We at Huge Designs call it visual experience design because experience word becomes very important. Because why experience is important? Because it connects three things. First, user needs. Second, business requirements, and third is technical feasibility. Why technical feasibility is very important for visual design is because visual designers closely work with development, and that time it becomes very important that visual designers to know what will work, what will not work, if some of the layouts or some of the interactions will hamper performance of the application or not. So that's why these three becomes very important role. So business requirement is very important because we are uh, involved in the project from the beginning. So we understand that there are some business goals which we need to achieve. It can be anything that we want users conversion rate to go high, or anything else, and also users expectations, right? I'll give you one example. I was working with one of our customer, that is oil and gas, and we were working on rental scanner application where they had big systems, big equipments in the yard, and they had to scan all their equipments through RFID. And we were creating this application where RFID scanner and mobile application was connected. So had it been a case where I would have referred online and created mobile application, but if I didn't know in what scenario this application is going to be used, I would it would have completely failed. So scenario was, all the field workers, they are going to use this in sunlight or outdoor. Also they were supposed to wear hand gloves, and they were supposed to wear glasses because they were working outdoor. So this information changes the complete visual design experience. Why? Because if they are going to put hand gloves, then when they tap on mobile, the tap size should be really big, because otherwise every time hit will be missed. Then if they are going to use this application outdoor, then we can't use dark UI, because then if they use it, the complete reflection of their own, they can see it on mobile and they won't be able to read it. So this scenario makes the complete different experience, and how we approach the design changes. So that's why it becomes very important to understand in what scenario users are going to use this application, and what are their goals. So when I say what are their goals, so visual design plays very important role to have buy-in, 100% buy-in on any product. When user comes on any application, that time in first 5 seconds they decide that they want to go ahead or not. So that's why visual experience design becomes very important. As I mentioned earlier, the visual experience design bases functionality, emotional system, and brand. Functionality is 70 or 80% functionality is taken care by interaction designer, where in the wireframes he puts all the functionalities and how things are related to each other, and where user will go if tap on something. So that has been taken care of. But in visual design it becomes very important that it is discoverable by the user. Even though interaction designer has put in a lot of efforts and have best functionality, but if user doesn't know where to click and how to get there, then it is completely a failure. So that's when it becomes important role from visual designer side, that each and every functionality has been given importance, and it is discoverable, and at the same time at the contextual level it is coming in front of the user, and user performs the action. So that is one part of functionality. I would give one example here. So I was working with a thermal power plant customer, and he had a big system, and he wanted to replicate his system, like controllers, network connections. So that is the real life system. He wanted to replicate that on digital system or digital surface. It looks very complex, right? And it is complex. So when interaction designer had created wireframes, that time he she was only considering connections between the controllers and networks, but and she had put boxes and given the names of that particular controller. But then when it came to visual designer, it became extremely important to replicate real life objects and models into the system. So that's when we visited the plant. We actually took photograph of each and every object, and replicate that as an icon, or as big graphics, and then connected them. So when user or customer of this system, they were looking at complete system, that time it was very easy for them to understand how things are connected. So even though interaction designers are having functionality in place, but for visual designers it becomes extremely important how they can connect this to real life objects, and how can they take this to the next level. So that is functionality part. Another thing is emotional system. As Nielsen Norman has already mentioned, that there is emotional system, and there are three types of design within that. One is visceral design, another is behavioral design, and third one is reflective design. So visceral design plays a very important role in visual design, because that is the first reaction of the user, uh, of his brain system, where of his emotional system, where he looks at something and react in first 5 seconds, and if he likes it, then only he'll go ahead and interact with the system. And third thing is very important, brand. Obviously for customer, their brand is close to their heart. So keeping all the brand elements intact within your visual design, and creating based on brand becomes very important. So these are the three things how we approach visual experience design. So to summarize this topic, definitely visual design is not about just the colorizing of the wireframes. It is not accidental, it is not experimental. Visual designer's job is to make users' life easy and help them to perform their task effortlessly. Thank you so much.